A recent event has just reignited one of the longest running debates in Smash history. Against incredible odds, the third best player in the world was defeated by an unknown Steve player. Twice. Games are meant to be determined by the superior player, not their character selection, and this is hard evidence that Steve's kit is simply too powerful to be legal. But that version of the story is a bit misleading. This mystery Steve, D-Dog, isn't just some random guy, and he played out of his mind this entire set. But even with 2 wins against one of the world's best players, D-Dog didn't go on to win the whole tournament. In fact, he finished 5th place, which is still quite impressive for a 128-man bracket, but also not very compelling evidence for a ban. So why did we see such an outcry after this tournament? Despite the given story, the problem with Steve has very little to do with the results and everything to do with the way he's played. Steve wants to fight you, but that's not to say that it's the only thing on his mind. So, what is it about Steve that makes him feel so bad to lose against? And, more importantly, is he so out of line that he has to be banned? Well, if we're going to tackle that question, we need to lay some foundation first. In fighting games, being good is almost universally defined in terms of doing damage. Specifically, you are good if you can reduce your opponent's HP to 0 before they do the same to you. No matter how you go about winning a fight, be that with massive combos or grinding them out with projectiles, you have to clear every single pixel of that health to meet this criteria. But Smash's definition for good is instead based on how well you can control your opponent's position, not how many times you can hit them. There are 3 major skill checks involved in pulling this off, which make up the most important pillars of the Smash community. These are execution, spacing, and adaptation. Players need a mastery of all 3 of these to succeed. Without execution, you won't be able to kill your opponent. Without spacing, you won't be able to stop them from killing you. And without adaptation, you won't be able to create the openings you need to beat them. So, here's the problem. When you look at Smash through the lens of a fighting game, you see the stuff the community likes. This is where we find the combos, the tight execution, the neutral game, and most importantly, the fast gameplay. This is why people love players like Fatality, because he plays to these traits so well. However, this is only part of what the game itself truly rewards. You can land all the combos, all the hype confirms you want to kill your opponent, but if they nudge you at just the right time off stage, they're given the exact same reward. This creates a disconnect between what players feel and what the game rewards. There are lots of things about a game we can't change, and even if we could, we'd have only created a new, different game. This means the only way a community can shape a game's meta is to impose new rules from outside of it, i.e. bans. Most bans we don't even think about anymore, like items or walk-off stages, but others are a little fresher in our minds. For example, Melee added a ledge grab limit in an attempt to curb offstage camping. Nothing in the game stops you from grabbing the ledge more times than that, save for the communal agreement that a player camping the ledge should not be rewarded for stalling. But banning a character is much harder than a stage or a technique. There are many players out there who dedicate 100% of their playtime to solo maining a character, and banning that character means ejecting that player from the scene through no fault of their own. From the game's perspective, they're following all the rules, but the community decided that that play wasn't considered skillful. This means that for a ban to be considered, it has to be so impactful that a huge number of players feel that their own skill was not relevant in that matchup. In Melee, the only strategies targeted with bans tend to be the ones related to stalling, but its only character ban actually targets something purely aggressive. Wobbling is a simple but devastatingly effective chain grab, turning a single grab into a nearly guaranteed kill. The thing is, that's still the case for the Ice Climbers, you just can't use this specific technique to do it. This creates a very narrow character ban on the Ice Climbers, where you're free to play them in any way you like, except for wobbling. Melee itself is unchanged, but wobbling went from being a legitimate skill to being a liability. So, while wobbling was a very narrow character ban, Smash 4 had one that was the polar opposite. If you made even the smallest mistake, this character was capable of performing a guaranteed kill combo starting at practically any percent. But, unlike Bayo, this character could even start their combo out of grab. This is Smash 4's banned monstrosity, Small Mii Brawler. This character embodied some of the most terribly powerful parts of Smash 4. Like heavyweights, he was given easy bait kill combos out of throw, except Mii Brawler's variant started working at much lower percents. Not only that, he could true combo to helicopter kick from nearly any stray hit by the ledge, which created a sort of Diet Bayonetta in a world long before Bayonetta ever existed. So, even though Miis were technically legal, the parts of them that had meta relevance were discarded because the reward felt too great for the risks, and didn't leave you feeling like you got outplayed when you lost. For as strong as these characters are, Smash has only ever had one character receive a full, unmitigated ban. That character is Brawl Metaknight. This character's strength is already legendary in the Smash scene, but the impact this triple S tier character had is hard to grasp for those who never faced him. So, let me do a brief flyby of just a few of the parts of what made this character so OP. All 4 of his specials had competitive value, but the most infamous special of his has to be Tornado. Tornado isn't just an incredibly rapid multi-hit, it's also disjointed in front, behind, and below Metaknight, making this one of the safest moves Smash has ever seen. That would already be strong on its own, but give that attack the ability to move quickly in any direction, and you've got a tool that auto-wins neutral in almost every matchup. Metaknight has 3 aerials that come out in under 4 frames, but its up air in particular is just silly. This move is so fast, you can do 3 of them in a single short hop, which means the window to try and land against Metaknight is pretty much non-existent. This move, along with any other attack that uses his sword, i.e. all of them, also has what's known as a transcendent hitbox, meaning that these attacks can't clash with others. These aerials would be busted on any kit, but Metaknight was uniquely able to utilize them to their fullest potential. Pairing moves like down air and up air with a character with fast aerial drift and multiple jumps is borderline sadism. Metaknight also had access to the best glide in the game, allowing him to effortlessly recover in nearly any context. However, here's what's weird. All of this is stuff that the scene should technically have loved. He's a lightning fast, combo-centric character, but it wasn't his overwhelming aggression that got him banned. The Smash icon Mewtwo King perfected Metaknight when he discovered that all those broken tools became practically invincible when you were using them defensively. So, in 2011, the scene decided enough was enough and Metaknight was officially banned from competitive play. And yet, we sure have a lot of modern footage with Metaknight in it. See, there's a fatal flaw behind character bans. When TOs attempted to run Metaknight ban tournaments, it simply resulted in top players who played that character not attending. This was not acceptable, as an event's success hinges entirely on attracting top-level talent. Without the pedigree those players bring, winning that event loses legitimacy in the eyes of the public. No one cares if you beat a bunch of random dudes, but take home a W against a known pro, and that holds some real weight. And with that, we're back to the titular question. Should we ban Steve? If the criteria is being too strong, then absolutely not. But that isn't to say there isn't any hope for pro ban players. In their most honest form, every ban we've discussed so far can be boiled down to we don't like it. That may be because the character is too easy or has too strong of tools, but we can't deny the root cause is a feeling that their win did not come fairly. This is not the case with Steve. He still very much has to play the game to win, and will absolutely check off all the correct boxes in doing so, but only after he spends as much time as possible powering up. This is the most dramatic example of this non-interactive gameplay, but it's far from something new to the game. Point is, Steve is an undeniable presence in our metagame. He bends the rules of what you can do in Smash, but not so far where he isn't still outplaying you when he wins an exchange. So, here's the secret to fighting Steve. Your goal is not always to hit him. Your primary goal is to deny him resources. The longer he gets to push B, the more of a threat he becomes, so you need to be applying pressure as often as possible. If he's having to push any other button to try to hit you, he's not getting stronger. So when Tweak sat on the other side of D-Dog's wall and watched him dig until he maxed out his materials, he had lost before the fight even truly began. Of course he got blown up when he sat there and let a character reach 100% power in a matchup designed around denying that exact power. In the end, I think we can all agree that Steve is obnoxious to fight, but I hope we can also say that being annoying is not a ban-worthy offense. Every day that passes with Steve legal further entrenches him into our meta, and personally, I think we've long since passed the point of no return. With so many players and so many scenes dedicated to maining the character and pushing his meta, history shows us that our best hope here might be a partial ban of a technique, but banning Steve himself is almost impossible. You may not like fighting him, but at the end of the day, he does play within our skill checks. Maybe someday that'll change, but for now, a Steve ban simply has no ground to stand on. Thanks for watching, and it's been Glyphmoney.